Man, I wish I was 20 again. Where does plastic come from? What is up, internet world, and welcome back to the channel. Today I bring you the 2022 Hyundai Kona N. If you don't know what N is for Hyundai, it means awesome front differential. Yes, an ELSD, sick body kit, cool colors, all the N logos you can find, all the reds you'd like in your life. And of course, if you want to see this versus that, please subscribe. In the Kona N with 276 horsepower and 289 pound-feet of torque. Now there's 3 drive modes, Eco, Normal, and Sport. But there's a 4th one, and it's on the steering wheel and it says N, and when I push it, it picks the mode that I want, and I can adjust all kinds of things like engine, steering, suspension, transmission, the LSD, the stability program, and the exhaust note. Yes, all by pushing this button. And there's 3 increments of each one that I can adjust and play with. And then on the screen there's launch control, and I can hit this button that says activate, and it lasts for 5 minutes. But then there's another button down here that says NGS. That gives me an extra 10 horsepower when I hit it. But I gotta put it in drive, and I gotta hit it now. N-Grin Shift is what it says, and it gives me 20 seconds of extra power. Come on, launch control. Come on, launch control. Launch control don't always work, but let's try to get it. Come on, launch control. Come on, launch control. Got the launch control to work, guys. We're going. Release accelerator to cancel launch control. Okay. This suspension is so stiff. Wow, look at this. Look at those bounds. I love that you can see 360 newton meters of torque, 15 pounds of pressure, the oil temperature and the engine temperature. All right, I'm gonna whip around this corner here in this Kona. Ooh, this thing handles really good. All right, camera, stay with me, camera. Stay with me, camera. Oh my God, this thing handles so well. A little bit of steering pull, so a little bit of torque steer, but not too much when you're moving. I think there'll be a lot of torque steer when you're sort of going on low speed, but as you're hammering through corners at a decent pace, it's okay. It's not as bad as I expected, to be honest. Around town, for sure, with these Pirellis and this wheel height, you're definitely getting a ton of torque steer. I can feel it in the steering. Just listen to that motor, great drivetrain. And it's cool that they have 3 cars that the exact same powertrain in it. This, the Elantra N, and the Veloster N. Sick, I love that. You can just pick which one you like. You like this one, or that one. It makes total sense. Everything's the same in terms of like driving the car. The heights are different for sure, and the feedback is a little bit different from the road because the height's the car and the size and length of the chassis. But overall, that's the big play here. You just have to basically pick which chassis you like and then buy it. The front. Look at these Jeep Cherokee / new 7 Series front end headlights. What do you guys think about this front end? Now in North America, obviously this looks like a lot is going on, especially the fact that this is matte, different design, and you got some shiny piano black over here, and then you got this little inlet that actually works. Yes, the flow actually drives the air in here and then creates an air curtain over the wheels. But here, daylight running lights, actual headlights, and then of course all the N. This should need little inlets in my opinion, but what do you guys think about the front end? This is called Sonic Blue. So the Kona N is only available in front wheel drive and only available in automatic, as I mentioned. DCT for sure, definitely not CVT. Don't get the acronyms twisted. On the front here you get 19-inch wheels, but they do not have Michelin Pilot Sport S's. They have Pirelli summer tires. They are P0s, but they're not Michelin Pilot Sport 4S's. They do also have this widened sort of arch flares, and they are in color code to the Sonic Blue, which is nice to see. They're not like this black thing. They just match the car very, very well. It does have electronic tuned suspension and of course sport tuned steering. But let's talk about the design and the looks of it on the outside. I like the fact that on this one and not the Elantra N, you have the red side skirts that stop right there, not like wrap around the whole car like the Elantra. That part to me, I just did not like. And on the side here, you have gloss black side mirror caps with an LED built in when you indicate. Nice touch. And you have these matte black roof rails. They should really be gloss black because there's a lot of gloss black pieces here. Not here, but here. Feast your eyes right here. This is a huge, huge spoiler. Not a lot of cars you can see the back of the car from the side, but here you can. You see these split rear taillights, indicators, and actual DRLs. And then also here, look at this rear diffuser. It's massive, and you can see it from the side. Like, look at this. You can see the fins from the side. What do you guys think? What do you guys think? Let us know. How does it feel getting in and out? Well, it's a Kona. So watch a Kona video for that. This is a Kona N, and you can fit 50 liters of fuel into this thing, which is 3 more liters than the Elantra N, which is odd because this thing is a sport hatchback. Or maybe that's the Veloster N. We're not sure in today's world, but this is wide, long, this long, not that long, this long. And it's split, and I like the way it's done because this is attractive in a back end. You have lots of things going on, like some sort of crazy street race you're about to pull up to in your Kona N. Look at this valance, it's massive. And it's got this little chair that you can seat on, bench seating for 3, and huge, massive rear exhausts that sound like this. So if we start at the top, you can see how big the spoiler is from this angle. It's massive. It's got 2 different layers, and it's got this triangular brake light in here, just like the Veloster. Moving down, you do have a wiper, which is a thumbs up, and you have this Hyundai badge that is in chrome, not in black, like the front. And then you have, of course, a split taillights, like I mentioned. Here's your brake lights and your DRLs. Underneath it, you have your indicators and, of course, your reverse light, which is not down here. It does not have power trunk, but there is an electronic switch to open up the trunk. It is not a manual cable. And it does have 2 nice big struts to get it up there, and it will not fall on your head when you're underneath. And when you open up the tailgate, you will realize it is actually a Kona, and you need to use it as such because it only has 32 inches of depth and 42 inches of width. You can't fit a ton, but the seats do fold down 60/40. And even if you want more storage, yes, it does not come with a tire, so you have that as an option. Back seat of the Kona N. Solid door. When I close it, when I pull the handle on the outside, not so much. Now it does have cup holders in the back here. It's important to know because the Elantra does not. It does have the same pretty much back seat as the Elantra, except this seems to have a bit more height for my head. The other interesting part that I noticed about this is that I sit higher. The Veloster felt very low and sporty. This does feel higher, even though it offers the same sort of sporty feel when I'm in the car. But I'm sitting higher. It doesn't feel like it'd be as fatigued in this thing like I would in the Elantra. I felt like this would be better in terms of seating position. As far as quality back here, well, they're just back seats for a sports car. Let's go to the front. So we can talk about the interior and how plastic it is, but the focus is really on the N portion of this Kona, starting with the seats. The seats are very buckety and they feel solid. They're different than the Elantra seats because they don't have the BMW logo that illuminates. By BMW, I'm talking to you, Albert, because you set up this car for guys like me that just want purity, that just want an engine, a transmission, a steering wheel, and everything that fits the budget to give you the performance that you'd like. And I'm getting it because I don't care the fact that it has all this plastic. I like the fact that I have an N mode button I can touch and cool features like this display graphics and throttle and oil temperature, engine temperature, lap timer, a shift light, brake pedal compression, and of course, different levels that I can adjust by hitting this N button. Activate. And because this is DCT, you get this little red button that says NGS, which stands for N Grin Shift. That gives you 10 extra horsepower by pushing the buttono. But if you do want to talk about all the plastics, we do have automatic windows, automatic mirrors, of course, automatic door locks. You do have automatic headlights. And yes, you do have paddle shifters. I keep coming back to the performance, but I love it. And you do even have an actual handbrake, not an electronic one. So that's a nice touch. And you have this N on the shifter, and you do have heated seats on both sides, 3 increments, and a heated steering wheel for us Canadians. Yes. And you do have the tech. The tech keeps you in the lane. It centers you in the lane. You do have a digital cluster at 10.25 inches, and of course this touch at 10.25 inches. You do have very basic HVAC controls, no doubt. Very, very basic. And if you care about charging like me, you'd like to know that does come with a wireless charger and 2 USBs that you can plug something in and of course charge, and a cigarette lighter. And then where else do you have charging ports? Well, definitely not in this glove box. There's not much space, and it's just there. You do have 2 cup holders so you can put it in here, and well, that's really about it. Overall, I'd give the interior 1 step above the Veloster, but definitely 2 steps below the Elantra, in my opinion. This has the same software layout as all Hyundais, but I like the fact that it has 2 rotary dials on the left and the right for your volume and your tuning. As far as touchscreen, this is how it works, left and right, pretty straightforward stuff. And the most important piece here is the N mode. When I hit it, as I mentioned, you get this little graphic and different data, which is really important when you are a driver. But for everybody else, you can just hit the home screen and you have your map, navigation, phone, and it does not have wireless Android Auto or wireless Apple CarPlay. You have to plug it in through the USB by hitting this phone projection button that tells you using an approved USB cable. So what happens if you're at a light and you don't have time to activate launch control and all that stuff and you simply just pin it? How much bunny hop will you get out of these Pirellis? Let's find out. Foot to the ground. So it's got a pretty unique power band. There's not a lot down low. There's a ton at the mid and definitely a ton at the high range. This transmission is awesome. It shifts very, very fast and it's very engaging. Suspension is really good depending on the mode that you're in. Obviously, as I said, it's very harsh. At the highest mode on city bumps, but on a track it would be awesome, even with this wheel gap. And the exhaust is not overly annoying. Maybe that if you leave it in the sport mode all the time, maybe it can be kind of annoying, but you can easily just set that down 1 or 2 levels by going normal, sport, or sport plus, all on the fly, all in the infotainment. Otherwise you'd have buttons all over the car, and the buttons are kind of cheap quality inside the car. But nobody's really buying this for the quality inside. They're buying it for simply this motor, transmission, and just to sit higher. So let's say you drove a Veloster to get to the dealership, or when you got to the dealership, they put you in a Veloster and you loved it, but you just found it too low. You found the one door kind of weird, and you wanted something higher and something a bit more utility that wasn't a sedan. Well, there's not too much of this stuff kicking around with this kind of power plant, this kind of engagement, and this type of warranty. This is definitely the most aggressive suspension out of the N lineup, Kona. And it's strange because it has a really high ground clearance and a really high gap between the rim and the body. So I would think this would be a bit softer, but no, it's actually firm. I do really like the Kona. I just find that it's a lot of plasticky inside. So it really comes down to which environment you live in. Do you live in a very need a sitting up higher type of car? Do you just like to sit up higher? Do you like the seating structure of this thing? And do you like the way this thing looks on the outside? And do you need all this space? Based on that, we'll kind of base your decision. In terms of price, they're pretty much the same. There's not really a difference between the Elantra N and this Kona N. It's just really styling. So it comes down to you on what you'd like to have or what you think you'd like to have. And with gas prices the way it is, this thing is cool that you can just press eco mode and you can be frugal on fuel, and then press N and be, spending the money. So hopefully that gives you some clarity on what the Kona N provides as an overall shell for its price point. I do like it, but again, I love the powertrain. Not a huge fan of what the thing looks like on the outside, and the suspension is definitely the most firm of the lot. And maybe that's all you need to know to make the decision. And that's about it. The end, my opinion. Thanks for watching.